It's the 80-20 issue that's still a red card for Democrats. Greg loves the soccer references. The ACLU out with a brand new ad featuring soccer star, wokester Megan Rapinoe and others standing up for the right of men to participate in women's sports.
On the field, the track, the court, here, you get to be exactly who you are.
Because at our core, we're still the kids who just want to play.
Supporting trans youth isn't just about sports.
It's about freedom.
On and off the field. It's more than a game.
Right, freedom, except if you're a woman playing against a man. I digress. Axios quizzing nearly 20 Democrats viewed as possible 2028 contenders. Most did not want to talk about trans rights. Does that surprise you, Emily? Did not want to even bring up the trans rights, these Democrats. How could they not pre-think this issue if they're considering running for president?
Well, because they're cowards. They are giving in to influencers instead of being the influencers themselves and saying, yes, here's what I'm going to do when I earn your vote and then deserve the salary you pay me. I am going to influence your children for the better by not allowing biological males to compete against little girls. Elite voices are not voter voices. And that commercial is so out of touch and it's so deeply offensive. So I'm going to listen to Naomi Watts, who got everything that she got because she's Nicole Kidman's bestie and like secured a couple backdoor auditions and enjoyed Britain growing up. And now she has the nerve to tell me what to do with my daughters. I mean, it's shameful. Megan Rapinoe, who got to do this PSA after she was an elite world champion because she didn't have to compete against biological males. If she had, she would not know what it is like to be a world champion because she wouldn't have gotten this far. Fairness is being reframed as hate. And this isn't about sports, obviously, it's about power. And anytime anyone tries to push back, they are told that they are transphobic, that these girls, that their position and their livelihood and their futures matter less than cultural compliance. But the thing is that the public is ahead of this.
Right.
We see it. The courts have said absolutely not. Voters have said absolutely not. But it's about this social influence, this narrative, these dopamine hits. So this is why it's so important to have your kids off of social media and that your local and city and county elections matter so much, that your school board matters so much who sits on it, because those are the ones that have that real power. And if we stop listening to the celebrities and their influence, then we can wipe away what influence they have.
All right, Greg, I know you love talking soccer. That's what we talk about in the breaks. So Megan Rapinoe in particular,
Rapinoe
player. Sorry, my bad.
Rapinoe.
Yeah.
Do you know that her entire team was beaten by a team of 15-year-old boys?
Yes, yes.
In soccer, by the way.
Yeah, that is world
math.
champion.
I also heard it was math as well.
World champion women.
Yeah.
Beaten by 17-year-olds.
Correct.
Yeah, but this is another case where you're watching people who claim to be for women's rights marginalizing women. You know, they on this pyramid of identity politics, the man who claims he's a woman is on top. And I don't really count women who become men because they tend to mind their own business. Like they're not like it's the men who become the women.
Not winning the track meet.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's kind of a false argument with that. What's that? Whatever the actress from Juno, I can't think of the name.
Elliot Page.
I don't think it's about rights. I think it's about like a revolution, and with a revolution, it turns everything upside down. Doesn't really matter what happens, and it just keeps doing it again. But I think to Emily's point, we've kind of wised up on this grift. You can call us transphobe. It's not going to work. We're just pro-biology. You know, I have no idea who this is appealing to. Again, it's kind of like that rescue fantasy. In this case, you have like straight women defending trans from evil cis, CIS, Dana, not SIS.
Gotcha.
But these people, they're like jock itch, a sports analogy. I don't know where it came from, but it irritates.
So irritating.
It's just irritating.
Chafing and itchy.
Yeah, even like Rapinoe, like I don't like. I see her like once a year. She's like an extra in the Peach Pit in Beverly Hills 90210, and you go, oh, why is she there? I don't know who that is.
It's how she stays relevant.
Yeah.
That's the only way for her to stay relevant is to continue to do this. Hollywood always pulls Democrats to the leftist position. The ACLU is doing the same. The ACLU used to be like, oh, they'll defend anybody, but now they've got all this money and they're doing these things. And so Democrats, do you think that the ACLU paying for these gals, to do this ad is helpful to your position? Then you have Axios asking 20 possible 2028 contenders, and only 3 will answer, but kind of barely. See, they don't have an answer like, do you think men should be allowed to play in women's sports? They go, well, I refer you to an interview I did 6 months ago on NPR. No, you can't answer that. And they're giving themselves false hope. Abigail Spanberger, I always bring her up. She won in Virginia. And this has given Democrats the sense that, oh, you know, trans issues don't matter so much anymore. In Virginia, they really won because there's so many bureaucrats and Democrats that work for the government that were mad about DOJ, and they turned out and they voted. What was her first thing that she did on the job? First thing she did on the job was say, actually, we will not cooperate with ICE. Okay? Then do not take false hope, Democrats, in the idea that trans issues don't matter anymore by believing an ad like this.
So 27
Why am I
states.
giving them advice?
That was good.
Why?
27 states banned it. 21 states said, and D.C. said they can do it. Well, soon the Supreme Court will weigh in. Jessica, what advice would you give those 20 Democrats who want to be president?
Well, definitely have your answer ready. It's like you don't go into a job interview not knowing what your strength is and what your biggest weakness is. And your weakness can't be that, like, you're always early for everything or whatever.
I mean, but I am.
I care
but
too
Dana
much.
is. Yeah. What I would say about the ad is if you listen to what they're actually saying, that ad could have run if it was directed at the correct audience, because they say kids who just want to play and trans youth. So if you're talking about prepubescent kids, if you're talking about a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, whatever, that's one thing. But if you're talking about people that are trying to compete after you've gone through puberty, when the real biological changes happen, that's when this issue actually gets more dicey. But in general, I would be thrilled if we were not talking about this issue whatsoever in 2026 and just talking about the economy and healthcare and national security and all of those kinds of issues.
All right, we'll see. Some people are doubling and tripling down and with that ad, so someone's putting money up. Meanwhile,
You own a soccer team, don't you?
well, put it this way, there's no women playing with men.
But if you had a trans player,
own
that
a
was
soccer
good,
team?
Would you do it?
If I had a what?
A trans player that made your team better than it was?
No.
Oh, you mean a woman that became a man?
Yes.
I don't think that's ever happened.
Oh, man, who became a woman?
Yeah, because that's why this issue is
That's why you
baloney.
just told me it was a dead issue.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.